him that. I go, I really enjoyed that. I'm glad you didn't talk about the geometry stuff. It was just like right on point with what people need to hear right now.
I'm telling you, man,
great.
it was like,
we're gonna have to get you. We're gonna have to get you on his show.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I would love to do that.
Here we are.
Welcome.
It's welcome the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
This is what it's all about. Welcome everybody on the live and the replay. And we got Jen Reynolds in the house. She is a hot ascension chick, among other things. She's just...
I've never been called that before. Yeah, hilarious.
Well, and okay, so we are 4:44. We're late. Thank you, Alina Sanchez. We need to talk. And we got a few people here. We are getting suppressed. If you would pass it on to one page or one group is cool. We will have our site is ready. It's ready to go. We got a couple things we want to add to it. And we're launching, it looks like 11/11, if not maybe a day before, day after. Hello, Ellie Blue. Hadn't seen you in a while. What's happening? I'm going to put on the intro real quick. We'll be back in a minute, 19 seconds. That allow people time to come in. And then we'll be sitting down with Jen. See you in a second. Vera says, so hot. You see that? Somebody else said she's hot.
I love you, Vera.
Oh my God. I'm wolfing down these. Morgan made some chicken wings last night. Oh my God. They're so good.
You're eating meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been posting like what I've been eating on my wall a lot, and there have been people like yelling at me about eating meat. They're like, we thought you were vegan. I go, I was years ago for 3 years, but things change and we shift.
You put up a great post a few months ago, remember, about intuitive eating, and you told the story about it.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But I don't know, even like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I don't eat red meat, not because I'm, whatever. I just never have been a big. Yeah. I used to eat a lot of pork. Mm-hmm. I like pork, but I don't even do that hardly. But it was like in a week, I ate like 2 steaks and I was craving it. So I'm with you. I think it's an intuitive thing.
It really is, because there'll be a week where I can't even look at meat. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, or even a month. I mean, it goes for a month sometimes where I'm just not interested really in food that much. Yeah. And then I'm not really interested in anything that's really dense. And the weird thing is me and Eric shift at the same time with our eating. Oh, so really? He'll be like, oh, I went to work and I had a piece of chicken or something like that. And I go, oh my God, I totally did when you were at work too. It's like the same time we're shifting. And I really think it really is an energetic thing because, there's times where I need to be more grounded and more in my body. And when I eat non-meat or non-dense foods, I tend to be out of my body. Yeah. And right now I really need to be in my body because I am going through the physical ascension now. It used to be more of a consciousness ascension for me. It was more like knowledge based and learning things. And now it's just like totally becoming embodied. And let me tell you, it is so uncomfortable at times. But it has to be done. It's like I'm feeling parts of my body that I have never felt before, and energies going through me that I've never felt before, and just wacky stuff. And it's just, you got to go with the flow and not get too attached to it.
I agree. Yep. Morgan and I were just talking about it on the way to the laundromat a while ago, and she was talking about somebody wrote her a note or something and said the same thing. Some woman. And she goes, "You remember that? That's what's happening to me." I said, "It is happening to you?" She said, "Yeah. Don't you remember that day? It was like maybe 10 days ago. I was coming home and I could feel her. I could feel her body. Like I could feel and I get home and she's laying in bed and she stayed there for a week. And everything was just very, very physical. And I've been having a lot of physical stuff. I actually made a couple of decisions recently, as far as what I'm taking into my body. And because my body's going, "Hey man, like you're waking up every day, you're off planet for 2 hours. Maybe if you change a couple things up, see how it goes." And I've been doing that, and it's only been 3 or 4 days, but I can already tell the difference, because even with adequate rest, say 6 to 8 hours, probably more like 6, I still wake up, man, and for 2 hours, I'm cockeyed.
Yeah, I was doing that for about a year, and I wouldn't be able to be in the same bed as Eric. Like his energy was he was just at a different frequency than me for a little bit, and I don't know if he was higher. Who cares? We were just at a different frequency, and I could feel it, the intensity of it. So I'd lay on the couch and I'd watch Soulogy and other things, like in the middle of the night, and that completely stopped about 2 months ago, and I'm sleeping straight through the night again. And that hasn't happened in a couple of years. So it's kind of nice to just be able to sleep. And I don't even want to get into what's happening during my dream time.
Yeah. What is going on with that?
That is insane.
Man.
It's insane. I'm getting taught a whole healing modality in my dream.
Wow.
Right now.
And you have full recollection pretty much?
Not really. That's the thing. It's like I get bits and pieces of it, but I've been kind of told by my higher self that when you need it, and when you embody it, you're going to know what to do. It's not like you have to retain all the information. And there's people that I know that are there, which is crazy. I've had Vera in my dreams a few times. I've had you and Morgan in my dreams. Yeah. I had Amanda Lawrence in my dream about 2 weeks ago, and we were opening a portal together.
Wow.
We were opening a portal, and then the next day, I don't watch that many videos anymore. Like I'm not really into watching people talking about spirituality. It's like I have enough of that in my life all day long. And then I was watching, one person I do love is Lori Ladd. Oh my God. I just adore her. And I watched her video popped up, and I watched it. She's like, this huge portal open. It's like right when I woke in the morning, I'm like, okay, maybe I did open a portal.
No, there's some serious stuff going on in dream state. Like my lucid dreams, and I don't know how far this goes back, maybe a few weeks, but definitely at the last 2 or 3 weeks, because we had a period, I think it was 2 to 3 weeks ago, where for 1 week we didn't sleep in the same bed. We didn't even talk, and she was going through a lot of the body stuff. I was going through a lot of the body stuff, and we just went about our business. Because it would have been like the second week of October when everybody was talking about it. And my lucid dreams at that point, so I would say probably like for the last 3 to 4 weeks, they're so vivid. They're so full of messages where I don't have to go Google it. I just go, okay, that's what that meant. I've got like people coming into my dreams that are the most important influences in my life.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like from 14 years old, or like from 22, and it'll be me and Morgan walking down the street, and then these people are around us, and all this code's being exchanged. And I'm like you though, I can't remember like in detail, but there's a part of me that's more than intuitive that goes, okay, this is cool,
Yeah.
But don't ask me what it's about.
Another thing is that, and I don't know if this happens to you, is if I don't remember the dream, because like right when I wake up, I'm kind of really out of it for the first hour. It's just the way I am. I'm just I think I'm just coming back into my body or something. Yeah. So when I do dream and I don't remember, but I know it was something that was kind of supposed to be remembered, I feel the energy of the dream first before I start recalling it. So I feel the energy imprint of the dream, and then it starts coming in and I start recollecting, I can't even say that word, whatever. I start remembering whatever it is. And then
what you hate when that happens?
Yeah, no, it's really, I can't even talk half the time these days.
I know, man.
And you know what's kind of cool is you really don't have to that much anymore.
I know. Yes, that's
unless
true.
You're doing something like this, or even Eric and I, we do talk and joke a lot. We could sit and be quiet a lot more now.
We do that.
Really nice. Yeah,
we do that. We do that every day, and we have almost from the beginning. You know, as soon as I learned to shut my mouth a little bit in the mornings, especially because she's the same way when she wakes up.
I'm the worst. I cannot keep my mouth shut, but I have been a lot more lately, and it's just it's coming naturally and organically. It's not something that's being forced. It's just like I'd rather just feel the energy than like use a lot of words all the time. So. Yeah.
Well, it's depleting too, you know, like, I mean, of course I do this every day. Right. And so I'm pretty conscious of myself. And then I've learned over the years, you know, how to align with whatever is going on, who the other person is. But what I notice is that certain conversations, not so much on the show, and even if it's messaging or, you know, like this, if it's privately, certain conversation frequencies are just physically, energetically depleting, and I avoid them. I can't do it.
Well, I don't even use my messenger. People message me like probably 20, 30 times a day, and I'm not doing it to be rude. It's just like, I want to put my energy into things that are going to be of service to humanity right now. And I'm not necessarily a one-on-one person. I've never been that way. Eric's better at that. He's like a real big people person. I'm more of like, I do good with him. Like if he's by my side and we're with a bunch of people, I do really well. But I wouldn't do half the stuff that I do unless he was in my life, because like the people, I love humanity. I just don't like them sometimes. I'm just being honest. You know,
I know what you mean. Believe me, I know what you mean. But I
do love humanity. Like I'm here for this evolutionary change. You know, it's not that I don't love humanity, but people can be very energetically draining and they don't know it. It's like, you can't like say, you know, you're draining me right now. They don't know it. They're doing the best they can with what they have. And they don't know it. So there's no even reason to point it out, but to kind of ignore those things, I think is kind of being responsible for your own energy too, because if you start draining yourself, you're going to have to refill yourself up, and that could take a day or two.
Oh, I agree. I agree. And I could talk to you, you know, or friends, you know, I'm talking about friends, people that I have a connection with, but on a private level, like it's very hard, man. I mean, I'll get off the phone and I'll tell Morgan, I can't do people. It's not the person. It's something else. I don't know how to explain it, but I think what you said it earlier, that if you're at an aligned frequency that is, detached for the most part from the old, let's say codependent or 3D or whatever you want to call it. There aren't a lot of words. There's not a lot of reinforcement, like, oh, you know, I just want you to know that I love you, or There's not a lot of that. There's very little words. The energy speaks for itself, and that's getting more powerful. It's getting more powerful in our relationship. Probably the same thing you're talking about with Eric. And so, there's a little bit of a transition kind of going on, and everybody's, I guess, probably fluctuating a little bit, but it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's nothing personal, right?
It isn't anything personal at all. It's never personal. That's the thing.
No, it's not.
And if it is personal, it's usually about you. If you're taking it personally.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Absolutely it is. That's
when you say thank you. You say thank you for triggering that out of me. Thank you for the gift to go within myself and take care of that junk that needs to be washed out. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Thank you for letting me become aware of it. You know, that's the one for me. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was there. I got triggered yesterday, and it wasn't a big trigger, and it had to do with more of a professional kind of thing, but it's personal. See, there we go. It was me.
Yeah.
And I saw this stuff happen, and I'm like, okay, I'm not triggered bad. I know what I need to do. It's basically what I've been doing. And then as I was discussing it with Morgan later, she's like, yeah, and also you make a new choice. And that new choice has to do with an equal energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have an ongoing interaction with somebody, be it professionally, personally, or both, and it's very one-sided, it hurt my feelings is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. That little boy got hurt, his feelings hurt, and I was like, MF this, and I was doing all that. And then I was like, yeah, but I'm cool. And it didn't take long, but I did need to like express it. And I'm glad I talked to her today about it, because she's like, well, you know what you're dealing with here. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like I couldn't even put the words, I couldn't say the words what it was, and she was able to. So that was cool. You've been on fire lately, man. I mean, you always write really. I share a lot of your stuff. I don't know if you know that. I share a lot of your stuff.
I've seen you sharing it. I'm like, what is he doing?
Well, I share. Because I share about 30, anywhere from 20 to 40 posts a day in the Soulogy group. And so that's part of my routine throughout the day. I will go and find certain things. And there's probably about 7 people that I would say every day, half of those posts, or say a third to half of those posts are their posts, and you're one of them. But I've noticed you've really ticked it up in the last couple of weeks. And of course, I have no memory. I can't know linear, but I think it's been about 2 weeks. There seemed to be like a kind of almost like a integration period. The first 2 weeks of October, everybody was like, ooh, and then it kind of lifted. And some people, to me, observing it and observing myself too, I'm being honest. Part of me went like that, and the other part of me went like smooth sailing. The other part went like like that.
Yeah.
But you just been like, man, like direct, straightforward, not rude, just telling it like it is, and it's time to shift or get off the pot. That's the kind of message I get from you.
Yeah. Well, it's really heart center based too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've had, I've had a couple heart catalysts in my life. Eric's one of them. And there was another person in my life that triggered a heart awakening in me in 2012, which a lot of us woke up during that time, reawoke in 2012. And I feel the energy coming out of my heart now. And I'm learning how to use that energy in a more digestible form for the collective. And I want, and people take it the right way, usually, unless there's just something going on with them. They usually take it the right way. And when they don't, it doesn't seem to bother me anymore. I'm just like, I have so much compassion and love for them where they're at. There's a lot of people struggling right now. And if we can't just, make this whole process easier for people, it doesn't mean that we make them codependent on us or we lie to them. Yeah. But, I'll bring up one thing. The mask situation is a very triggering thing for a lot of people. And I was breezing through that whole thing. And then I went to a vegan market that was outside and totally got triggered because I wasn't wearing a mask and everybody wasn't giving me the stink eye.
They were?
And Eric's like, what is wrong with you? I went to go get some vegan fried chicken. It was my friends that runs this place. Yeah. I promised I would go to get the vegan fried chicken. They didn't have any of the sides. And I'm like, why are you even open? I was like, it was because, and I'm not like
why
that.
Are you even
I
open?
am not even like that. I do not get triggered that often.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of like a lot of energy that was kind of circulating within me. It wasn't just that. There was other things going on. I was having some health issues at the time as well, which weren't health issues. My light body is just activating.
Yeah.
Like I thought I had freaking cancer, because like I had swollen lymph glands. I had itchy skin.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. I didn't know
the doctors were positive I had lymphoma. They're like, oh, this is all the signs of lymphoma. They did every single test. There is absolutely nothing wrong with me.
Right.
Nothing is wrong with me. And I learned a big lesson in that one too. It's like time to step out of that whole paradigm of going to the doctors too. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that when you were saying that. Yeah, because I actually had a lady on last night. She was very, very powerful. She's from the part of the country I'm from, South Texas, right on the Mexican border. And anyway, very cool lady, and she had lupus.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of her catalyst. And, and I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about some of the stuff you've written about. It was very, very interesting. But when you were just saying that, when I was talking to her last night, I was like, would I even go to a doctor again? Like, I don't know, that something about it doesn't fit. You know what I mean?
I
And
mean, if
maybe
I
I
felt
would.
like I was having a heart attack, but the last time my heart opened up, I felt like I was having a heart attack, went to the hospital, nothing was wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like, you really got to listen to your own guidance. And I mean,
True.
I don't think taking doctors out of the picture is the thing to do. Like, if you really are sick, go to the doctor. I mean, it's not spiritual to go to the doctor. You don't have to take the medicine they give you, but to get a diagnosis and know which way you're going to head, and maybe use integrative medicine, or just natural medicine, you could do that, or you can hook up with a naturopath, or whatever you want to do. You got to make choices if your body's not doing well. But
like intuitive like eating, like intuitive eating.
I went to the last time I went to the doctors last week because they wanted to give me my blood results, and everything was fine. I get there and my blood pressure is 179 over 132. That is like super high.
I know that's super high.
That's like, and they go, you have high blood pressure. You need to go on blood pressure medicines. I go, no, I don't like being here. And my body does not want to be here. My blood pressure is like at home. It's so low because I got a machine because it was high one other time when I went to the doctor. When I'm at home, it's like 82 over 63. It is like so low.
So you went in there
and it just goes up because my body does not align with going to a doctor because I was chronically ill for many, many years with lupus and fibromyalgia. And it just kind of brings back that energy of almost victim consciousness in me that I held on to for a long time. And I'm afraid if I go to the doctor, I'm giving my power away again. So it just doesn't align, and my body just starts wigging out. So
when you think about that, but if you think about that, if we think about other scenarios too, even in our more distant past, like the effect on the physiology, right? Like even like going into a bank and applying for a loan, or going to the police station. Well, maybe y'all haven't done it. I have, but there's certain places that you go that you just get kind of your body just starts, like your heart starts beating faster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that, but at doctors and hospitals, same way.
Yeah.
Even if I'm going to see someone in a hospital, there's something about the place that just like my body goes on alert. Most of the time when I go to the hospital to see somebody, I'll stop at the chapel. All right. Isn't that weird? I would step at the chapel.
Well, no, I mean, it's a place of meditation and prayer. And I think that you can kind of calibrate your energy there because it's quiet and it's away from all the energetic caca around you in a hospital, because people are sick and afraid. And
that's a Spanish word, by the way.
I always say caca. I always say caca energy. I'm like, Eric, get out of here with your caca energy. I don't need that shit.
That's funny. I haven't heard that word since I was a little kid from my grandmother and a few other relatives.
I use it a lot. Eric speaks really good Spanish.
Does he really? That's awesome.
Yeah. I was going to get back to the mask thing because I'm not very linear anymore, and I just hop all over the place.
That's fun.
With the mask thing, I was trying to share about being compassionate and kind to people instead of being right. And I do understand why certain people won't wear it. They refuse to wear it, and they're making a statement about it. I totally get that too. I have so much compassion for them because they're stepping into a war zone right now.
Yeah.
So, but for me, I don't wear it unless it's actually required. It's required. So I'll go into the grocery store, I'll put it on, and I'll take it off. If I'm walking down Laguna, and you guys have walked down here, there's lots of people on the street. If somebody's wearing a mask, I wear it down here and I put it on if they're wearing one, because right now people are so terrified and scared. There is just a massive shift, and there's tons of fear energy out there. And they're dealing with that. I don't want to be the one to create more fear in them. I would rather be the compassionate one. And I've had people say thank you when I walk by them. Thank you for putting that on for me. And I don't feel like I'm like facilitating their need to continue to wear it. I don't feel that at all, because people shift organically. There is no need to push your energy on them. Agreed. Just being around you. If you're going to put that on, walking by compassion, you're going to shift them faster than you ever can say. don't tell me not to wear, a
Right,
mask.
right.
There's no
That's right.
reason. There's no reason for that,
No,
And that's just one example. We can get into the political side, the religious side. I mean, it's anything that we're dealing with. There's no reason to force our energy. People are at different levels of consciousness right now. They're getting it pushed into a huge, almost rude awakening. I could not even imagine what people are going through right now, because I had years to kind of adjust to knowing all this stuff. These people it's just in their face now.
Yeah.
And
very true. Very true. Yeah, and that's another thing that's coming out too, man. It's so weird because this whole, Morgan would tell me for years and years, like, when you and me being me or somebody else, and you're talking to somebody and they're just adamant about, with conviction about whatever they're projecting on you, whatever it is, to just let them go, let them just continue to swim in that. And like you're saying, like this with the mask thing, it's like they're going to get there their own way. It's an organic thing, like you said, and there's nothing wrong with that, as opposed to, this back and forth thing that we used to do, this jockeying back and forth, but I see it happening in a couple different ways. One is like what you're talking about, where it's more of like an overt statement about the external things. And the other one is more like the human interaction one-on-one. Like we're adjusting to that. Like what we were talking about, we're talking to people on the phone or messaging people. It's playing out there too. It's like we're finding our power, but it's kind of I don't want to say fragile, but it's like a delicate walk. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can have 2-3 days of, wow, man, I'm feeling this, and all of a sudden you get slammed. And it could be a physical thing. It could be a interaction with somebody at the vegan chicken place or whatever,
God, I felt bipolar like for a couple of weeks. I was doing this.
Did you really?
And I'm not like that. Like I'm normally pretty solid in my frequency and know my personal truth, which is just alignment to whatever's coming towards you, and I'm pretty solid in that. And I got stirred up, and I got triggered by Eric a couple of times in the last, and we never
really
get trigger each other. And he handles it so well. It just pisses me off how well he handles it. Like I can't even have an argument with him.
Really?
You can't have an argument. He'd just be like,
okay.
And then he just holds, and then he's like, so would you like me to tell you what I think? Or are you not ready to hear that now? And he's not being like a smart ass.
Yeah.
He's just like not going to play in that energy. Yeah. Thank God he's in my life. Oh my God. He has expanded me more than anybody. Just his energy does it,
You guys are a dynamic duo.
He's awesome.
Well, because you share the same, so like, again, if I look at the field that I've been in, and I'm talking about what I do every day, there's been a lot of changes in the dynamics. And one of the things that I've always kind of been sensitive to is the field of energy that I'm working with. And it's like this small, still, silent voice. And I'm speaking at an energetic level. I'm not speaking about one person. I'm speaking about many people. Is like starting to like creep its way up. Like all these things that are loud and have been mainstream or have been typical, they're getting shot down. And you have this little movement that's not drawing attention. It's just people being real, So to sit down and talk to Eric today or talk to you now, and the person's planted in the ground, and says I was bipolar for 2 weeks, and I even snapped at Eric a couple of times. I mean, that's the real shit. It is.
I mean, if you can't share, your trials, or I don't even know I call them initiations, actually. Yeah. I just call them little initiations. And sometimes we're going to kind of breeze through them. And other times we're going to get a little bit of a reaction, and it's just clearing out this density on a cellular level in the body, because we have to become less dense as this earth becomes less dense. As the frequency rises, we have to rise with it. And as it rises, if there's anything within our body, in our emotional body, in our physical body, in our mental body, in our spiritual body, whatever, I don't know how many bodies there is. I'm not an expert at that, but it's going to come to the surface. It has to come out. It has to be felt. It has to be seen, and it has to be transmuted. It has to be, or you just can't move into the next, through the next gateway or the next portal. And, you know, that's just the way it is. And we're just constantly expanding, just like the universe is, you know, because we are the universe. We are our own universe. So we're expanding just like the universe and growing, and it's freaking amazing.
It is.
The whole thing is just unbelievable.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. And I'm also with you on this thing about, especially lately, and maybe September, October, really getting loud, you know, and I'm not just speaking like you said, you know, it's not just the physical body, it's the mental body and the emotional body and the muscle memory and all that stuff that people have a better handle on than I do. But what I have noticed is, especially with Morgan, because Morgan made a decision 20 years ago when it was offered to her, I'm going to embody everything to the nth degree. So right.
Morgan, so, God bless you.
Yeah, I know. Imagine like not even understanding that for like the first 2-3 years. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with you? Or like, you know, what's wrong with me? Or, you know, and then I started to understand it. And then I started to see the value of it. And then I started to see the contrast of it. What I was getting at, though, is what I've noticed the last couple of months is there has been, well, through watching her too, you know, and I'm talking about over the years and learning what that really means. You mentioned it earlier. It's like it has to come up. It has to be acknowledged and recognized. And it's not always a comfortable thing. But what I have noticed is some of the stuff for me has been like emotional or mental or old trauma. And I'm like, oh, wow, man, I remember that. Oh my God. You know, and I start going into PTSD and I'm like, wait a minute. I thought I was done with this. But what I've noticed is once it equalizes or integrates or whatever you call it, there's like these almost within 12, 18 hours, there's immediate physical consequences, like physical ramifications. Like I notice it in my body one way or the other. Something's, and I'm like going, what the hell? You know, like what's that metallic smell on my skin? You know, like it's like coming out of my pores. Like I can see the immediate the immediate consequences of having, you know, gone through something like that. It's amazing. I'm with you. It's all fucking amazing, man.
It is once, you know, it's not when you're in it at that moment, but once you come out of it and you're actually observing it from a higher perspective, you're just like, wow, I just did that. And you know, when I have an old program running, or there's something very physical in my body and sometimes I don't even know what it is when it gets physical. I'll just know that it's a dense consciousness in my body, you know, that wants to be heard and seen. I used to, you know, a long time ago when I had, when I was going to doctors a lot for lupus and fibromyalgia, I'd take a pill, take a Vicodin, you know, or take some kind of pill to cover it up. And it never really helped because I really believe all of it was just stuck energy. Yeah. So when you go into it, you actually feel it, allow it to be heard. Say, you know what? I'm gonna let you be heard right now. I'm gonna let you be heard. I am going to focus on you. I am not going to push my energy away. I'm not going to get distracted and really focus on it. A weird thing has been happening to me lately when I do that. I'll be laying down and I'll feel a pain in my body. And if I really focus on it, I put almost like this geometric thing over it. So I'll see geometry, which is probably what I'm downloading from Eric because I'm hanging out with him all the time. So I'll see the density and it's jacked up geometry. It's like all deformed and messed up. And then all of a sudden I'll imagine putting the geometry back together in that one spot. And all of a sudden it feels like an implosion in that area. Like there's an energy almost collapsing, dying, just imploding. And then after that, it's almost orgasmic.
Really?
It's releasing, and the body is just saying, thank you for releasing you, or that energy is saying, thank you. I don't know, because I'm not an expert at this, but it's just a little thing I've been doing the last couple months. And it's made me go through the process a little bit easier rather than getting so attached to the pain and creating a story about the pain. Yeah. And because that's how disease is created. We attach to it and we create it. So, and I'm one that could say I had it all. I was 220 pounds, type 2 diabetes. I had heart disease. I had lupus, fibromyalgia. And I know why I went through it now. I understand why I went through it. It's like I had to go through that so I could help other people when I'm ready with this healing modality. I will be helping people. I just haven't embodied yet, so I can't really do it yet. But I know I'm going to have a job security.
There you go. And, I got into a discussion with a guy the other day, and it was pretty interesting. And it really wasn't about the subject matter, but how you're just talking to somebody and we were all stimulating each other, and then it all just started coming out of me. And I was just like, dude, this is a community. There's a community out there. I'm not saying it's soulogy. It's not soulogy. Soulogy is one name for whatever that is. It's all over the world. How many people are in it, I don't know, but there's a community out there that is aligning with kind of a lifestyle of, hey, I'm not just this. I'm all of this stuff that we're being, indoctrinated into, remembering, whatever the case is. And I thought to myself afterwards, like, is that really what this comes down to? It seems so human. Like, for me, just to approach my life day by day, consciously applying everything I've been given, so I don't fall into the story of, something that shows up in the body, or so I don't fall into a codependent engagement of hitting the ball back and forth. You know what I mean? I mean, it sounds like it's not really spectacular and fantastical, like all that stuff that people experience different ways. But is that what it's come down to? Just being conscious like you said earlier, like you've got to be grounded. Sometimes you got to eat meat. Like, is that what it's come down to? Like, all the woo-woo's going to go away and we're just going to be held accountable as, skin and bones, flesh, human beings?
Yeah, well, we all wanted to escape and ascend and get off this earth to the new 5D earth. Guess what? We ain't going anywhere. This is it.
I'm with you.
This is it. And I think that, a lot of us that kind of were born with this, I won't say better awareness, I would say just a higher awareness that, than the programming that is kind of laid over the earth at this time. We kind of had to be in the stars just to deal with the density of everything. So I was always up there. My poor parents, man, God bless their souls. I would not have anything to do with any institution. I hated school. I dropped out of school, ran away at the age of 16. I did not like anything about this planet. I was pissed off about the whole situation of being here. And I had to kind of just not be in my body. And then all of a sudden to be like pushed into my body in the last few months. I'm surprised that I'm doing as well as I am, because there's times where I'm just feeling everything. I'm feeling the energy of everyone around us. But you know what? If I take that on, that's my fault.
Yeah.
Nobody asked me to take on their energy. So I can't say I'm an empath and I'm feeling all this energy and poor me. And like, I'm having a bad day because everyone around me is in a bad mood. Well, if I am not standing in my power, and I'm not standing in my sovereign energetic field, that's on me. That has nothing to do with them. Yeah. They're allowed to be exactly who they are.
That's right.
But you do feel it more now. And we definitely are skin and bones now. We are in our body and we're feeling it more and more. And there's a great purpose for that. I believe that we are supposed to really ground in our anchor in this energy and hang out with normal people, not just spiritual people.
I agree.
You know,
I agree with that.
I mean, I was just hanging out with Eric's neighbor, and he hit the booze like at 8:00 this morning, and he was cracking me up. And they're just laughing at him. He was being hilarious. And it's like, before I'd be like, you know, seriously, you started drinking at 8:00 in the morning. Thank God for alcohol for that dude, man. He's been dealing with the presidential debate. I haven't had to deal with that because I don't give a crap about that stuff.
I'm with you. I'm like, you know, people say something and I'm like, you know, like, who are you with? What's the difference?
It
what
doesn't
difference
matter.
Does it make?
My parents actually asked me, or a family member, and my mom chimed in, and I try to bring like what I say down to where they can understand it.
Yeah.
Just because they think that I've lost my mind, period. And so I says, you know, I don't care who wins. I just want the highest outcome for humanity. And that's up to God. And for them, you know, God is something outside of them. So when I said that, it just totally calmed them all down. They weren't flaming, and they weren't, you know. So you really have to navigate dimensions right now. You really got to see this person is not at this level where I can have this conversation with them right now. And it's not going to help them.
That's a good point. It's
not going to help them.
That's a good point. Like a chameleon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
That's
I mean?
what Eric calls me. He calls me a space monkey and a chameleon.
Well, but you know what? I mean, that's a compliment. I mean, that's you know, you're pliable, you know, and so we think multidimensionality. So we're like Syrian and Arcturian and elemental and dragon, all this stuff. But what about here?
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's what the chameleon quality is, to be able to break bread, you know, energetically with anybody, just like the guy today. Like, you're telling me that, and I'm thinking, damn, those were the good old days.
Yeah.
I'd have been right there with him in the old days.
I'm serious. You know, I'm seriously being pulled, as long as their energy's not too cocky. You know, I mean, I'm not going to be hanging out with a heroin addict on the corner or anything. But I am being pulled more to go back to my, not necessarily all my old friends, but people from my past, where I was kind of segregating myself from them for a long time. And there was a purpose for that. I really needed to have that time by myself and just learn who I am. You know, I didn't even know who I was. I just knew I was pissed off at the world for a long time. And I had every right to be, because I came down from this higher frequency and dropped into this body. And I did not want to be here at first. I did not want to be here. Now I am freaking gun-ho.
Yeah, I know you are, man.
This is why I came here. I came here for this moment in time, right now. So the other stuff doesn't bother me unless it does. And that's just a program. That's a program that needs to be cleared. It does, no big deal. Clear the program.
See, this is ding, 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 ding. I mean, like I absolutely feel what you're saying. And I've said it. I did a radio show the other night, and I was like, you know, I just came in here solo, and I was like, man, this is it. Like, you know, F the election. It's not about, this is it. Like, whatever happens, like Eric was talking about this morning, he's talking about the chaos thing, right? Chaos, and it creates where potential meets possibility. This is where we're at. Like that, like whatever you want to call it, God, whatever, our star family, or whatever you want to call it, they don't even know what we're going to do, right? Like, we're in the driver's seat now. We're leading the universe. It's not leading us anymore, you know? So I'm totally in line with you on that one.
I made a post yesterday that totally was coming through me. I would never post anything like this. And I think, Eric's home from work. Long day at the office?
Talking to Todd. Whatever she said about me, it's all a lie.
She said you were like a stallion in the bedroom.
He can't hear because he can't hear. He is, though. And anyways, next subject. I don't even remember what we're talking about. You disrupted my energy, my frequency, Eric. You brought your low vibes in here, your low work vibes.
I'm getting images in my mind with the sacred geometry around your bed because Morgan and I slept in it. So I have
did you feel the energy in this place?
Dude, that place. Well, we were.
It's lit up, eh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is lit up. We were, we were there a couple of days. We stayed in southeast or south central LA area, right on the border, and then we came to your place for 3 days, and it was like, I want to say it was surreal, but there was like, I go to the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom and I'm shaving or something. You have that window right there, that window that, and I'm like, who's in here with me?
Oh,
I'm like, somebody's in here with me. I'm looking.
There's a lot going down in this apartment.
Oh, I know.
Energetically,
well, that's a powerful area.
Well, there's a ley line that we think goes through here. We're not exactly sure. I mean, I feel it. I feel something coming through here. And there was actually somebody that came out a few years ago, or I don't know how long ago. I don't know, like 10 years ago, and they found it. So there is a ley line that comes through here, and him getting this apartment was all divine by design as well. Like,
of course,
he was kind of led here, and it worked out. It's all little miracles that happen, synchronicities. It's becoming more and more of that every day.
Darn right it is. and I think there's a difference too, like what you were talking about earlier, like because you reminded me of it. Like we went down because you're only a block off the main drag, on the ocean. So we were there 3 days, and one day must have been a Saturday because it was like packed to the gills.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't imagine walking around, like say today with mask, no mask, and all that. That's a lot of energy, man. Like we go here, this is a small town, 20,000 people. And I'll do the same thing. I'll put it on my neck. And if the sign says, please wear, I just flip it up here. And then I walk in and nobody's got one on. Or I walk in, you know what I mean? So it's a very hit and miss kind of thing. But I can't imagine in a huge city what that's like. That's a totally different dynamic.
Yeah, well, we've been spending a lot of our weekends in the mountains.
Oh, wow.
It's a little quiet community called Idlewild, and it's about an hour and a half.
Is that up by Big Bear?
No, Big Bear is like it's another mountain across from it.
I know.
It's about the same distance. Okay. It's a very small town, and it just feels so good up there.
I know. I've been up there. I've driven up through there.
There's something kind of magical going on there. I'm not sure what it is, but we keep getting drawn up there.
Wow.
We'll see. It's amazing up there, and just being in nature at this time where it's quiet. They don't have a bunch of resorts like ski resorts like Big Bear does, so it doesn't draw like a lot of the people that want to play on their boats and skis and stuff like that. So it's pretty quiet, and I kind of just need that quiet time to come back to myself sometimes.
Yeah, so, me too. We do that here too. We don't.
It's beautiful there. My dad's from Arkansas.
Is he really?
Yep. I don't know what part, but he was from Arkansas. Eric's dad was from Arkansas. Eric and my dad have the same birthday.
Are you kidding?
They weren't born on the same year. Not quite. Almost. No, just kidding. He's going to get so mad when he sees this. But yeah, like there's just like a lot of little syncs, So
yeah. That's trippy though, man. That's trippy that they're born on the same day.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's about as strong a sign as you can get,
Yeah, I do want to go to Arkansas someday. So
you guys, I told Eric today, and that's not the first time I thought of it. I almost feel like when it comes to the two of you, that I have to like tell myself, wait a minute, we haven't actually met in the flesh.
Well, I've had little things with you and Morgan in the dream time. The other dream time, I call it now.
Yeah.
Because this is a dream, and that's a dream for both. So
no, I get you.
Yeah. So
I get you totally. It's real too.
Absolutely.
That stuff that goes on in that other dream state is real. Mm-hmm. Like it's like so real.
It's coming really apparent now. Like it's almost like it's the same. And sometimes your dreams will merge into your reality now too, which is really weird. Like you'll wake up and you'll feel the energy of the dream, and then you'll kind of start remembering things, and then your day will kind of roll with the theme of that dream. Not necessarily the exact same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, and then the sequential part. Like people were telling me that, like, oh, I dreamed about you last night. Now we're talking like this. Or we'd be talking and be like, didn't we just talk about this? Or like, did we already discuss this? Because in my head, we talked about it last night. It's like, and then there'll be like these little pieces will just come in. Like you're talking to this person, and then you get off, and then this other person walks in, and it's like, whoa, like it's almost like a conveyor belt, and it is tied to the dream thing. I've noticed it so what'll happen with me, like in between shows or say after a show like this, before I hit the work at night, I'll go lay down for like anywhere from 20 minutes to maybe 45 minutes. And I'll go into that other dream state. And I mean, I'll come out of it and I'll be like, holy shit, what is that? Let me go get a pen. And by the time I try to write it down, I can't remember anything.
I don't think we're supposed to remember it all, but it might become more vivid as time goes on, where we will remember more of it. But I think that anything that we really need in any now moment is we're going to have access to if we've already kind of gone through some kind of, dream state school or whatever is going on in those realms, or just us getting together, like all these people coming together in the dream state. I think we're doing energy exchanges is what we're doing.
I think so.
In the dream state. And
you mean like merging, like like what you lack, I might have, and vice versa.
Absolutely. And I see that happening in real life a lot now too. Like, especially if you are around somebody with an open heart center and your heart center's open, there is definitely an energetic exchange going on and downloads going on. And you could feel it. If you're aware of it, you can actually feel it happening. You might not know what's going on at first. And then you're like, okay, how do I even know, like, the diameter of Saturn all of a sudden, you're like, what the heck is that all about? I never heard about that. So, it's interesting. It's definitely
that's trippy, because I was telling Eric about that show, The Phenomenon, that just came out, the movie. And there's a part in there about those kids in Zimbabwe that 20 years ago, the ship landed and a little gray came out. That's the story. And then, whatever. But so the kids were saying, I was telling him about it, that the kids were saying that when they locked eyes with the other being, all this information, like what's the diameter of Saturn, all this information, and they were describing it as adults now.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wow, there's something to that. Like what you're saying about in dream state, we're exchanging code, and like Morgan told me a long time ago about merging. This is how we live, love, and learn in other dimensions. And you're right about the being, being aware of it in the physical. Like we went to Sedona, man, it was massive.
Oh, that place is.
It was.
We were just there too, like a few months ago. We were there probably 4 months ago. We were camping, and man, the energy there.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
I was like
we met like with I don't know how many couples and androgynous beings, and when she had got some intel about it, and but back to what you were saying, it was like, it would be, it could just be me and her see somebody, and we stop and talk for a minute, and it's just like, you could just feel it, and then of course people we talked to since we left, people like Michael Mejia and just other people. They're like, man, I left there and I had to like go into integration for 10 days and lay in bed and turn off social media. I think it was a precursor, honestly, I think it's a precursor to what you're talking about. Like, I think it's going to become more common, I really
Absolutely. Do. And is it called telepathy? I don't even know how to say it. Well, telepathy.
Yeah.
Eric's correcting me. Telepathy. What you were talking about in that film, that actually happened to me once. I had laid down, and this is back when I lived in Arizona. I'd laid down on my bed, and my roommate, I woke up after I'd taken a nap, and I had it felt like a whole day dream. And I was in a cave. I looked, there's blue beans everywhere. There, And I really believe it was inside Mount Shasta. So I don't know why, but I think it was inside Mount Shasta. And there was like these screens for computers, and they were working on the planet, like the grid system on the planet. I mean, it was so detailed, this dream. And I looked into this being's eyes, and there was that kind of communication.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, they said they were me at a higher frequency.
Yeah.
One of my aspects. They didn't say the only one of my aspects. And we brought you here to just remind you that there is more going on besides just this earth plane. Because at that time, I was kind of going through some stuff. So I was like, ugh, this is getting dense again. I just went through this awesome like Kundalini awakening 2 years ago. Everything was great. Now I'm just feeling heavy and dense. And it was kind of like this reminder. But the thing is, I was asleep for 5 minutes, my roommate said. Yeah. And it felt like hours that I was gone. So
yeah, that's another piece, I think, that we go through the day and we're at 18 hours, whatever, give or take. And then you go to sleep. And like for me, like a lot of times Morgan will wake up at say, 6 because I'm snoring really loud. But I don't start snoring really loud until let's say I go to bed at 2, it'll be about 5. Like there's a period, maybe that's that other dream state you're talking about, but when I'm in that space, everything's vivid. And if she wakes me up, I can't hear a sound. It's like I'm not even in my body. Like there's no way I could be snoring because I've heard myself snore. There's no way. Something's happening in these pockets of time that we say at the human level, oh, well, that's 2 hours. No, it's not. It's like 20 fucking years, you know, like what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
I've experienced that a lot.
Absolutely. And it's the weirdest thing to just have pure communication with another being, which was me. The person was me, which was even weirder. And just pure dialogue. And it's so heart-centered and so pure and so transparent. Like, they're like, I see you. The energy I felt is I see you. I see the things that you have shame over, the things that you don't feel comfortable with, and I still love you. I mean, that's where we're heading. This is where we're heading. And that's why we're going through what we're going through right now. These programs have to come out of the body. Yeah, all the stuff has to come out so we can be completely transparent, open heart centers.
Yeah. And we'll, essentially we'll be just like those aspects. We'll just happen to be in a physical body, which, well, whatever's left of it anyway, but I mean, God, I really feel that, especially as I see everything being deconstructed, like even with the election, like
what a beautiful process,
right? Exactly.
That's how I feel about it. It's so freaking awesome.
It is. It really is. So what's left? The only thing left is just like you said, it's just like, look, I'm going to show my ass just like everybody else. I make mistakes, whatever, all that stuff that means nothing, and you're talking about like these other aspects too. Like there was a lady on here like a week ago, and we were talking about that, like what you experienced, what we've experienced. And I said, like, are these aspects of us, I mean, I'm just trying to learn, and she said something to me. She was like, whatever it is, I don't know. But what I do know is it always feels right. It's always heart-centered. And I always ask myself a question. Has this experience created more choices for me? And I thought, whoa, yeah.
That should be for everything in life.
Right,
is this expansive, or is this boxing me into something that's going to loop me? Yeah. You don't want anything to keep looping. Even these experiences, we got to let them go.
That's right.
If you don't attach to them, I don't walk around saying, I'm a little blue bean in Mount Shasta. I look like a crazy person. Nobody's going to relate to me, But it's an
I wouldn't
experience
think
I
you're
had.
crazy.
Well, I know. I could talk to
No,
you.
I'm just
like
because
I
can
wouldn't walk
relate.
into my parents' house and say, "Guess what? I just went to Mount Shasta and
Well, I'm one of
I
those
just
that
talked
made
to
the
myself and I was blue."
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Okay, we are sending you to the loony house and you are getting medicated."
Oh shit. Well, some of us have made the mistake of telling them right off the bat.
Oh, well, when I had my Kundalini awakening, I was taken to the hospital. It wasn't cute. They tried to medicate me.
So many of us. I mean,
I know.
so many.
But
And
I was not grounded, and
well, of course.
I did need to be sedated a little bit because I was seeing things that I had never seen before. You know, the veil lifted for a while, and I needed a little bit of medication. This is another reason why I really like to talk about my experiences so people don't feel bad, because there's been a lot of guilt and shame put on people for going on medications for a little bit of time. If you're not in your body and not grounded, and you're gonna hurt yourself or someone else, absolutely, but just don't stay on it for the rest of your life. You know, it's just a part of the awakening experience, and some people can't handle it right away.
I think to know that too, because like, you know, when Morgan came the first time in 2017, we were around my family in Houston, and I hadn't been back, right? And I hadn't been, and I didn't know she's talking to them the whole time, and I'm over here out in left field thinking, oh my God, this beautiful woman's here. You know, I'm not even thinking about that. Well, later on, she said, you know, your family thinks that you were certifiably mentally afflicted at that time. And of course I jumped in. I was like, man, I was connected. I mean, I got apparitions every night. I got divine episodes. I mean, I know what I know. But and then later on I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? I was crazy. From a human perspective, I was absolutely out of my fucking mind. I really was. I was doing crazy stuff. I was fighting and partying and, you know, just other things I won't mention. And, you know, but that's not the whole story, right? It's not. But it is important. I think what you said.
That much of it.
If it's that much, right?
It's like no big deal.
And see, that's what baffles the hell out of me. What baffles the hell out of me is I know my consciousness. I know it. I know my consciousness. Like we all get caught. Yeah, at one time we all got caught up in the human part of it. And you think you've like been separated and you think you're detached, but you're not. It's always been there, and you know that. And you get so I know my consciousness, and I ask myself, why am I conscious in this vehicle 99% of the time with that part of it, right? With that much of my stuff. And that's the part that I get excited about, because I think, oh, wait a minute, we're embodying this. So that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're actually, our bodies, what's that going to do here? You know, I mean, I think that it can't be too long. I know that, you know, certain things that get publicized and that are put out there in media and so on are controlled, and certain things are suppressed, and I don't buy into all that crap. But I don't see how for much longer, and how much longer that is, I don't know, that these types of stories, like the story of your transformation, the story of the lady I talked to last night, Monica Ramirez from McAllen, Texas. You know, these stories of these people that have cured themselves instantaneously of cancer. You know, we have friends of ours that have done this. I mean, these stories, the conversion to the light body, whatever it is, the clairs, the telekinesis, I don't think it could be held back much longer. I think it's a lot more prevalent than we might think, even in the light worker circles.
I was even kind of telling Eric that I could have had lymphoma. True. I mean, I had all the symptoms of it, but you know, for about 2 months while I was going through, well, actually, I probably had the swollen lymph glands for about 8 months. But for about 2 months, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and it felt like I was plugged into an electric socket for about 30 or 40 minutes. So there was just this high frequency light going through my body. And I knew at that point it was doing some kind of transformation. If it was curing me of that, don't know. If it was maybe just doing the metamorphosis part of, you know, because we're going through a metamorphosis, all of us are right now. Some people aren't aware of it, but we're all going through it because the frequency's gone up on the planet. But I mean, we don't know. He also has this other lady on his show. She's she is a holistic doctor and an MD, because we all have cancer in our body. It's just if we allow it to continue.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that's a good point. And you're freaking me out a little bit too, because over the last few weeks, and I've had it off and on for 9 years, but over the last few weeks, I've had this same thing going on. Like, I can't even tell you, Jen, if you know how you come out and you're awake, but you can go to sleep and you're in that state of back. I can't even tell you if that's happening, but I do remember, which tells me I've got to be conscious to a degree, because I am remembering, and I'm like, okay, what are we like there? Like, I'm being told, like, what are you working on today? I'm working on your teeth. I'm working on your knees, and then I feel the sensations. The next day I get up and like my knees are sore, like somebody scraped them, and I'm more agile. My back pain, which I had for 12 years, which, I had atrophy, like 20% atrophy of my muscles, have all come back. Like, what's happening here?
Well, we're just in our bodies more.
Yeah.
We weren't in our bodies, so we're feeling it all more. I mean, we felt it before, but we're feeling it with more intensity, so that it can be alchemized. Yeah. It has to be alchemized. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that energy going through. Do you ever get that in the middle of the night with the energy going through your body like that?
Well, I get it.
It feels a lot like intense anxiety, but it's not. It's definitely, you don't wake up with anxiety. That's one thing. You don't just wake up. It's usually something triggers you into it. This is waking up with just tons of energy coming. And the first times it happened, I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. And I let Eric know, and he could feel energy in the body. He goes, oh, you're buzzing. You're definitely buzzing. So, I mean, whatever that is, I don't know. I haven't attached to it. It hasn't happened in the last 2 weeks. A lot of things stopped happening. I stopped waking up at 3 a.m. I think that once I let go of the attachment to me being sick with the lymph thing, let go of the attachment of the buzzy feeling, let go of the attachment to a lot of the weird things that happen, the woo-woo stuff that happens. I'm having less of it now, which is good, because I want to be in this human body. I want to be of service to people. I don't want to be up in the stars all the time. I want to relate to people. We're here to do a job.
Well, you do a great job of that.
Oh, thank you.
You do. I was telling Eric, I watched that video. I think you heard me talking to him. Just like that's it. Like, that's what I always say. Like, I was talking to a friend last night who wants to start podcasting, and I was just telling him, giving him whatever help I could give him. And I'm like, dude, just get on there. Just turn it on. Don't even think about it. And I say this. You could be given a recipe, of your favorite meal, or there's just something about the true human, like, here I am, warts and all, here I am, flaws and all. And, there's something about it that just, it is alchemic.
Yeah.
It's an alchemic frequency.
I've also been, I was kind of pulled away from doing my van life videos for a while during the COVID thing. And just because I don't know why, I just had no desire. And if I don't have a desire to do something, I don't force myself to do it. Right. So I just started making videos again. Like, I had the pull to do it. And that was the message I got one night, was people just need to see you being you without all the spiritual foo-foo stuff. You are actually, when you're on camera, you are doing what you need to be doing. Just people seeing you be happy, people seeing you travel, not caring about the political stuff, not talking about any of that crap, and just out having fun. People to see that right now. And what needs to be seen within them will be seen just by your energy. There's no need to push any agenda on anyone anymore. My Facebook's a little different. I kind of let loose there, but like,
well, that's your platform. And that's a good point too, because we all know people who are not in the light worker circle, and you'll look at them and go, they got it and don't even know it. Like, they're so real. They're just so, you know what I mean? They carry exactly what you just described. They don't get caught up in it. They're just living, And
I'll tell you one right now. Tabitha, she's her I forget her last name. Tabitha something. She's a vegan, like, chef on YouTube. Okay. And her story is she had horrible neck and back pain, and somebody told her, you should just try going vegan, and it helped her. So she started a channel and became super popular. She's been on Good Day LA. Wow. She gets like 500,000 views a video or something. And what it is, and I said this to Eric while we were watching her, because we just get the giggles and feel so good when we watch her. And it's not necessarily because I want to watch her cook vegan food. I don't care about that. Her energy is spot on. Her heart center's open. She is just a wonderful person, and it feels good to listen to her. And that's what people need. They need that more than the spiritual woo-woo stuff right now.
I agree. I agree with that. And I think what's interesting too is like, I keep trying to formulate, and you know, I don't do that. I try to keep, I am always spontaneous on the show, but I got this David Icke thing coming up, and I'm like, so, you know, I'm human, you know, and I'm thinking, and I'll go for a walk. I'm like, oh, what am I going to say? Or well, you know, you start, and I thought to myself, you know, one thing I thought was like, you know, David Icke, do you realize that there are these people all over the world that have had these experiences like yours, like this download and and everyone told them they're crazy. And as I'm talking to you, I'm like, I can feel the question expanding, which is like, and another commonality that seems to be happening is they are coming into their body and leaving all that stuff. They're detaching from all this fantastic stuff. And I don't know, I can't quite put it all together yet.
Well, and then the other layer besides coming into our body is I've seen a lot of people, David Icke, I couldn't really watch him that much in the past. I've watched one of his videos recently, and I think it's because you said he was going to be on your show, just to kind of see where he's at, you know. His heart center's open.
I know.
Something shifted in his energy field. And I've seen two other people have that shift, and it's totally changing the energy of their channel, and it's aligning me more to them.
Did you see Franco the last time Franco was on, like 2 weeks ago?
No, I love him though.
Yeah. He came on, you know, we're very good friends. And so he came on, because I didn't know what I was going to ask Franco. I never know what I'm going to ask anybody. And so he came on, and I said, you know, we played around a little bit, and I said, so let me ask you something. You know, David Icke's coming on. If there was one question you could ask David Icke, that you could, you know, suggest to me to ask David Icke, what would it be? So he goes on to tell the story. And I think this is important because of what you just said, that if it's happening to one person, it's at a minimum, it's available and accessible to all of us. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know, I used to watch David Icke, and it's very much like my story with David Icke. I used to watch him when I woke up, you know, and I got my feel of it. It was kind of like, you know, hitting the head on the ceiling at some point. Enough is enough. I get the message.
Yeah.
And then he said, but a few months ago, I happened to catch him, and I started to watch him, and something was different.
Absolutely. His energy field is completely different. Yeah. It shifted. His heart's open.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world. You can have all the right information, get all the right downloads, but if your heart center is not open, you're going to come off as harsh. Yeah. You're going to come off as combative almost to people.
Especially now.
Yes.
Especially now, you're just not going to connect. And there's like 3 little 10-minute videos, because I haven't watched much of them in a long time either. But I happened to catch 2 of them. They've been put out like the last 5 days. They're not on his platform because he doesn't have one. And like the one I just saw, I think it was this morning. I woke up, I listened to a little bit, and he was like, you know, all this is going on and all this is going on, but if you act like a victim, you're giving your power. I mean, he was saying the same thing, and I was like, whoa, like, you know, so this is a good sign. You know, this is a good sign.
Well, that field is open now for anyone that wants to connect to it. It's just a field that we all can connect to, and the information's all the same. We might say it in a different way. We might present it in a different way. But when somebody's connected to that field and their heart center is open, you absolutely know within a few minutes. It's not even a few minutes. You can walk up to a person and know if you really feel the energy of that person.
That's right.
And it's happening more and more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because it could just be because my heart seems to be a little bit more open lately, that I'm connecting to it, where I wasn't, my heart was open, but it feels like another layer.
Well, you were saying this earlier. You said something about this earlier, and it kind of slipped my mind. I meant to mention it, but one of the things that's happened, I just told Morgan this yesterday. I said, I don't know what the hell's going on, you know? I really don't. Because I'm like sitting in my, the studio, and I'll be working, and all I can feel is this love.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and of course, she's the closest in proximity, literally and figuratively. And I'm thinking, oh, I got to go up there and tell her, you know, I got to go up and show her, what can I do? And then that other part of me goes, you don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. She knows.
Like,
Like,
no, she knows in the other room,
right?
what's going on.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's for sure. Try being married to a psychic, man. You can't hide anything, you know.
That's great.
But no, but it's a bigger level of it. It's like, and I know it's not me. Like, I appreciate what you're saying, and you're right. It's really both. Like when that happens to one of us, you do see more. Everything becomes bigger, but it's also in the collective. I can feel it. I know it. It's like we're talking about with David Icke. You know, I mean, so then I get up this morning and I'm like a little kid, and I'm like, oh, so I get like these little Post-it notes, and I like put "I love you" and I stick it on her coffee cup, or teacup in the cupboard, and then I'll stick one on the milk and one on the ice cream when she makes a shake later, and it's okay. It's not like, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's something to it that I can't put my arms around, that I almost don't know how to act, and it's not just about her. It's about everything.
Well,
it's
you are just trampling that distorted masculine. That's all that's going on. You're just like, fuck it. I don't need that shit no more.
He's been beat to death. He's been beat to death. Believe me, he has. Shit, I was there two nights ago. I told her, we didn't talk. We went to bed that night, which is fine. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden, and it happened like a flash before, but this was weird. This was like weird. I almost said something. I never say anything at night. And I looked down, and literally, I'm Morgan. I mean, I'm her body. I'm her being. And I'm sitting there like trying to absorb that. What the hell's going on, And then all of a sudden I thought, if I'm her, who's that? And so then this all starts, and I'm like, oh shit. I mean, like, I respect everybody's reality. And I know that in instances like that are really energetic. They're they're metaphoric,
It's really bad though. I wouldn't say bad. That's the wrong word. I see a lot of people get attached to that stuff though.
Yeah.
I like labels and their experiences, and you just got to kind of just let it flow through you, because it's just an experience.
That's what I was telling Eric this morning at the very top of the show. I said, you because he's got all that, right? You just have to look at the comments. I mean, you can't be shy about it. I mean, he's got it. Yeah. Yet he's so like, I don't know what the word is, grounded, anchored.
He is. His feminine and masculine is very balanced.
Yeah.
That means I can't get away with shit.
I know that feeling. Well, I think we're both moving into alignment, though.
We are. It's a process, not an event, Todd.
No, I know. It's all good. I can't wait to see you guys. I don't know why. We just have this, we have a lot of connections with a lot of people, but with you two guys, I don't know what it is, man. It's weird.
Well,
I was like talking to Eric today. Like, I've talked to Eric, I think we've done now 4 shows, and it was like, I don't know. As soon as the camera came on, it was like some dude I've known my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm being cliche. I mean, it's like I could talk to him. I could talk to him for hours.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about him, and you too. So, but really, I appreciate what you do. You inspire me every day. Like I said, I probably share 5-year posts minimum a day. You make me laugh. You make me think. And that to me is the most valuable thing for me. Is when somebody makes me go, oh, wait a minute. Can you open your mind just a little bit more? Mm-hmm. Especially if you do it with humor. So I just want to say personally from me, thank you very much. Oh, and I really look forward to seeing you. And
thank you for what you guys do. I don't even know how you freaking do it all day long, but thank you. I've been recommending people to you guys a lot. Like if I go live or whatever, because I think that having kind of like a platform open on a daily basis almost is really important right now for people that are just kind of awakening at this
Yeah.
time, because, or even somebody like I tapped into it a few weeks ago. I was not having the best day. I was a little grouchy, and I tapped in it, and it just kind of recalibrated me back into myself. So thank you for doing what you guys do. I really appreciate you, and so much honor and gratitude for what you two are doing. Thank you.
I love you, Jen.
I love you too. Thank you for having me on the show. I'll see you again soon.
Right on.
All right, bye.
Peace out, everybody.